Sorry, Will. Sorry, Marlon. Right over here we have Jimmy Himes. Thanks for joining us.
Sir.
Josh Ward right here. Marlon Walls, VFL, who was in the locker room last night smoking some real cigars with those guys. And VFL, Will Overstreet. Thanks to all of you for being here. Tennessee wins it 24-17. Will, we spoke at halftime. I'm guessing today's conversation will be different than the chat we had at halftime yesterday. I will start with you for your top takeaway on Tennessee's incredible win.
Yeah, just championship level defense. That's what you have. I mean, this offense gave up 3 turnovers. Defense gave up 0 points off those turnovers. Third down conversion was great. Milroe was held to 11 yards rushing. Alabama averaged 2.2 yards per carry. We had 3 sacks. You just look at it, complete and total defense. And the thing that improved so much from last year, you just look at the secondary, the ability to get guys on the ground once they make a play. I mean, Williams, yes, he had 8 catches, but he only had 73 yards. And I guarantee his yards after first contact was not very good. We got him on the ground. We made the plays. This team is playing, like I said, national level, championship level defense at this league right now. I underestimate how good this team was, thinking maybe, hey, Oklahoma's offense wasn't good, Florida's offense wasn't good. You played a good, Alabama offense that has had no problem scoring up against anybody in the SEC, and you shut them down for all effective reasons last night. And so I just look at this now and go, okay, defense, the secondary, you've passed those tests. I believe in you now, what you've got there. The offense is a different story. But that defense right now is the top takeaway. They're championship level, every bit as good as anybody in the country.
All right, top takeaway?
Top takeaway is this is a resilient football team. One of the reasons I say that is we know this is their 3rd straight game not scoring a point in first half for an explosive offense, or supposed to be an explosive offense. But just standing there with those guys, body language is a big deal. You didn't see the offensive line hanging their head on some of those bad turnovers. You didn't see Dylan Sampson drop his head after the fumble, and we're all sitting there, and we know it was an explosive play. Could have been an explosive drive for us. Those guys had their resiliency of, we're going to be okay. We're good. I saw Nico walking them down the sideline, constantly talking to the offensive line, hey, we're going to get him here. Dylan Sampson doing that same thing, and then this defense is going to keep you in every game with the way they're playing. I think offensively, if we start to connect there, which I think we can get to that point. We're starting to connect on the throws. Nico trusts his protection. I think this is going to be one of the top teams in the country, and I think we can play with anybody just based off what I see so far defensively and just resiliency of the football team.
One of the things that impressed me, and that's the reason I picked Alabama Saturday on our pregame show, at some point, we've all seen it, you've played on it, defenses, when they're thrown out there time and time again, the offense isn't doing anything, here's another turnover, eventually the fire goes out. It breaks. It stops. It's like, okay, I can't do it by myself anymore. This defense keeps going. I thought yesterday might be the day without Keenan Peely. Is this the day it breaks? They had every excuse to break. You brought up 3 turnovers. They give up no points. They didn't break. Impressive. Very impressive. Top takeaways, gentlemen.
Yeah, I would just continue what you're talking about. When stressed, they're stressed several times in that game. They were against Florida last week. At this point in the season, the success they've had in those moments, it's not a fluke. It's not a fluke that Mertz fumbles at the 1-yard line. It's not a fluke that Jermon McCoy picks off a pass in the end zone. That's stepping up, making plays. Yeah. Early, Jalen Milroe has an opportunity where there's grass in front of him. He could have had a long touchdown run, and Will Brooks trips him up, who has the interception late in the game. Afterward, Arion Carter is there at the podium, and he's talking about Will Brooks and his leadership. That's a young, highly touted player who's a playmaker, talking about an older guy that wasn't highly touted and his leadership. So that tells you the buy-in is there, the players playing together. I think at this point the results show that.
I don't know how many nails go in a coffin, but I think the offense was close to having the final nail after that first half. And I thought the second half they played pretty well. They scored 24 points. They had 267 total yards. They ran for 173. Dylan Sampson had 104 of those rushing. I thought the offense showed a spark that maybe will carry forward. Now, they got an open date before they go to Kentucky. But I did see some things I liked. I saw Nico running the football, which I think is important in this offense.
They ran him more in the second half than they did the first half, and it helped.
They did. And so I saw a spark of what I think this offense can be. But I think they finally came to life in the second half against Alabama.
They left at least 20 points on the board in the first half. If you're talking about, well, play calling this is the problem, okay. you had Dylan Sampson fumble at about the 20-yard line. That's at least a field goal, if not more. You have Nico make the horrible interception down there in the red zone. That's a field goal probably, maybe more, so that's 6 points. You had two guys running wide open behind the defense. You overshot both of them with, well, I was going to say Miltonian accuracy. Maybe it's Iamalievian accuracy. They're very similar at this point. But you overshot two of them. That's two touchdowns that you should have had. The coaches had you with 20 more points there if you execute. And it wasn't there. So maybe that does suggest you're this far off. You just need a little bit more to close it in. Josh Heupel, let's talk about him very quickly. It's funny. I came into the season thinking, oh, man, this guy's an offensive guru. My view of him as an offensive guru has dropped. I now look at it and think, if he doesn't have tempo, it's going to be tough for him with this offense. But my view of him as a head coach going up a little bit, because I didn't think, if you'd asked me 2 years ago, if they could win like this against Alabama and Florida, I'd have said no. Have we seen, everybody goes gaga over Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin ever won like this? I don't think so. I haven't seen him win with power defense like this. To me, that's the most impressive thing to come out of the season so far is you are 6-1, still going to be probably number 8, number 7 this week, and you're doing it in a totally 180 degrees different way than you did the last time around.
With a flawed offense.
Very flawed.
That I do think can get better. We'll see. But that's the thing. You see so many elements of this team that you think, yeah, they could be better here, better there. And yet here they are. They're 6-1. They're 3-1 in the conference. They're ranked in the top 10. They're going to move up a few spots this week. And they still have a very legitimate shot to be a college football playoff team.
Heupel said after the game that he feels that they're just getting started with this program. Marlon, you snuck in there to the locker room last night as a Vol. Thoughts about what you saw? Thoughts about how this team relates to their head coach?
He's a football coach, and what I mean by that is I've had the opportunity, unfortunate opportunity to play for a lot of football coaches at the University of Tennessee. What I see there is the guys respond. They respond to him. He's done a great job with the culture. They are a football team, and what I mean by that is each guy cares about the next guy. You'll see a guy go down, another guy goes over, go check on him, make sure he's okay as he's sitting on the bench. And then just the mindset of, hey, yes, we missed 20 points in the first half. We're not going to let those 20 points kill us. We're okay. Let's figure it out. Let's get going. And that's what I saw the most is the guys trust him. And if you don't trust your head coach as a football player, I can tell you this. I won't throw out any names, duly. But if you don't trust your football coach, you question everything in every situation. When you go down or you're missing shots and, hey, you're playing against Alabama, it's 7-0, you're starting to question in your head, can we actually do this? Because I don't trust the guy that's calling the plays, and I don't see that over there. So that's a really good thing.
Will?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at this team, like I said, the thing that scares you a little bit is you don't know what you're going to get after that game on the offense, because you had such a historically, as you and I talked about before during the game, historically poor offense that was one of the worst performances I've seen in a long time at 3 turnovers. And then you come out and you show, hey, we can play in the SEC. Whichever one of those that offense in the second half or first half, you come out with that in a game against Mississippi State, you're going to struggle to beat Mississippi State. But you can also beat anybody if that offense can come out and play well enough like they did in the second half to Alabama. You don't have to be lights out, but you got to be able to put up a few points here and there because you have this defense right now.
I thought I saw Nico playing with more confidence in the second half. Now, does that carry over? We'll see.
It was after that long run. I think it kind of, his numbers second half were the same as numbers first half. It's almost identical. Unless you broke it down after that long run, he was 6 of 9, I think, the rest of the way.
And Heupel talked about what does he look for in a quarterback? He looks for toughness and mental toughness. And he said our quarterback displayed that in the second half. So, again, maybe that jump starts him.
Yeah.
We won't know until it happens, but it might.
And it's not just Nico either. You got to jump start. You had receivers that drop passes. You have fumbles. You got a lot of problems.
Dylan Sampson said what Josh Heupel said the week before. I guess it was my turn to make a mistake with his early fumble, but you obviously saw him keep going. Nico's big pass down the sideline, he's rolling out. He's not in the pocket thinking, is pressure coming?
Which was a heck of a ball.
It's that's the elite throw that we talk about. He's capable of making that charge them up as well.
And if you're wondering, why haven't these guys talked about Dylan Sampson? Trust me, we got a whole segment coming up on Dylan Sampson. It's funny, I said last year as we went through that season that, boy, if this were another year, any other year, we'd be talking more and more about Jalen Wright. Well, I'm kind of doing the same thing with Dylan Sampson. It's almost like we're taking him for granted because, oh, well, he'll get his 130 and carry the team to 3 more touchdowns. He'll do his part. So we'll spend a little time talking about Dylan Sampson.
Alvin
a little later.
Kamara was impressed.
Yeah, he was. Yes, the quotes. All right. When we come back, the best player, the worst decision, biggest disappointment. We got much more to come on the Sports Source. Come on back.